Hi there and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, thanks for stopping by. In this video, I'm going to be doing a full audio test on the OBSBOT Tail 2. So if you haven't heard of the OBSBOT Tail 2, you're in for a treat. It's kind of the camera that you didn't know you needed until you saw it. Because if you're a creative videographer, then this is a really good camera that you should have in your arsenal. It's got so much to it. It's basically a live streaming camera, AI based, so it will follow and track subjects. But really you don't just have to use it for streaming. You can actually use it for any other kind of video. You can use it for filming weddings or sports events, anything like that. So you don't just need the streaming side of it, because by itself, it's an incredible camera. Now the look of it is kind of cool. Most of the base, I think, is obviously the computing side of things, but it's also a battery. It's got a huge battery in there that will last about 5 hours. So it's a really good, powerful unit. And the camera itself is pretty much all lens. So it's a stunning, stunning quality lens. And it has an optical zoom from 0 to 5 times zoom. And then it has a further digital zoom up to 12 times. Now, I will say in my testing, which we'll do on the full review, that anything up to 5 times zoom is absolutely fantastic. And we'll talk more about the digital zoom in the actual full review. So if you're going to hang around and wait for that, then obviously like, subscribe to the channel, and then you'll get notified if you hit the bell button when we actually release that full review. But for now, we're just talking about audio. But the camera itself is amazing, and I will go into much more detail in the full review. For now, what I'm going to be doing is, because part of this is actually the audio side. Now, there is one small caveat with the camera. It doesn't have a built-in microphone. So if you're going to be using multiple cameras, multiple microphone setups, then you're going to need to put a microphone into this to actually be able to sync your audio in post-production. Now, there is a line in and a microphone in jack on the actual OBSBOT on the base. So what I would recommend is getting either a something like this Rode mic. So I'll be demonstrating that in a second. Or you can actually get these tiny 3.5mm jack microphones that just plug in. So it's just literally a microphone to get some sort of audio. You're not going to use it professionally, but it's just so you can sync up the audio later. I'll leave a link on the screen now at Amazon, because I found a couple of really good ones that would do that job without having to dangle or attach a much bigger microphone to it. Just plug one of those in and you'll be good to go for syncing audio later if you've got 3 or 4 cameras. Okay, so what I've got here are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different microphones, because it's good to get an idea of how each microphone works along with the OBSBOT. Now, I'm recording everything to the Zoom H8, so all microphones are going into the Zoom H8, and then the Zoom H8 has an audio out, and that goes an aux in, an aux out, and that goes into the actual OBSBOT in the line in. So line out from the H8, line in into the OBSBOT. So that means when you're actually listening to the audio on the OBSBOT, you're getting just one channel. So if I had all of these 6 microphones on, you would just get one channel of audio. So you have to bear that in mind, that when you're actually recording to the OBSBOT, you can't separate it when you're in post-production. So if you are using a Zoom H8 or something similar, Zoom H4, whatever, then I would recommend recording to both, because then once you've actually got the audio in here, you can then separate all those channels, pick the best one, tweak it about, and even kind of combine 1 or 2 together. But it also means that you've got multiple microphones, because you could have a radio mic or a Lav mic or something that's wireless that you can have far in the distance. So if you're at a wedding, you can have it attached to the bride or the groom or the speakers at the speeches. And then you've got your ambient noise from other microphones. So just bear in mind, whatever you've got going into something like the Zoom H8, you'll have separate channels. But if all of those go into the OBSBOT, you just get the one channel. So you have to be aware of that. So what I'm going to start with first, I'm recording all of this with the DJI Mic 2 with the DJI Pocket 3 just there. So let's start with the Rode Video Mic Pro, and let's switch to it now. So what you're hearing now is just the Rode Video Mic Pro that goes through the Zoom H8 and into the OBSBOT. You're hearing this now purely from the OBSBOT recording, not the H8. So if we switch to the H8 recording now, see if it's any different. So now this is just coming from the H8. So it's the audio recording that's gone into there in that single channel. Let's switch back to the OBSBOT. So now you're just hearing it from the OBSBOT. Hopefully there's not too much difference, because it is a fantastic microphone. And if you were to get just one microphone for the OBSBOT, rather than that little one, if you wanted something professional that's going to be good enough audio to actually use within a production, then I think something like the Rode Video Mic Pro or the newer version, anything like that where it's a kind of really nice powerful microphone, then you're going to find this quite suitable for plugging straight into the OBSBOT. But at the moment, like I said, I've got it going through the H8 into the OBSBOT. So what does this sound? We're back at the OBSBOT now, but I think this is a really good microphone. And again, it's directional, so if I moved it away from myself, then the audio is going to kind of crash. So you have it back on yourself. So if you are using this, then you want to be in a fixed position. But it can be quite good if you're out and about interviewing people, or you've got something you're going to be doing podcasts. This is kind of an all-round good microphone. But again, it's got to be directed straight at you. So now you're listening to the Rode Podcast Mic. This is a fantastic microphone, obviously for podcasts, but it's also good if you wanted to record yourself playing guitar. You've got it next to an acoustic guitar, or you can have it kind of close to a speaker, again at a wedding if they're using a sound system, and all you've got to be able to do, all you've got available to you is to put this up against the loudspeaker. Obviously check your controls, but it's a really good microphone, very, very good sound, but again, it's really good for podcasting or music and things like that. I wouldn't necessarily use it while out and about because it's quite heavy. And it's basically designed for podcasting. But how does this sound? So this is the podcast mic directly into the OBSBOT. So this is me just speaking now directly into the OBSBOT, using the audio from there, just that single channel. And now we're going to switch to the Zoom H8. So now you're listening to the recorded audio from the H8 directly. So I don't think there'll be too much difference. Let's go back to the OBSBOT now. So now it's back to the OBSBOT. Hopefully the sound is very similar, and all the kind of gubbins inside the OBSBOT Tail 2 is doing some really good kind of work to the audio to keep it equal to something like the Zoom H8 audio recorder. Okay, so I like this microphone. I can hear in the headphones that it sounds pretty good. The levels aren't going too high. So yeah, I like this microphone a lot, but again, it's just pretty much good for podcasting. So next we're going to listen to we're going to test it's quite an old microphone now, but it's the Sennheiser E822S. So let's come back to that in a second. Okay, so now you're hearing me through the Sennheiser. It's a really good microphone. Again, this is quite old, but it still does a really good job. It's a cardioid microphone, and this is perfect for maybe someone who's singing. So we've used this with musicians for recording audio. It's fantastic going into the Zoom H8. You're hearing it at the moment from the OBSBOT. So this is directly through here onto the OBSBOT, and you're listening to the OBSBOT audio. So now let's switch to the H8. So now this is the H8 recording directly from there. Again, I don't think there's going to be too much difference because the whole system inside the OBSBOT works really well. Now this microphone is very much like the podcast. You can use this as a podcast mic, or if you're out and about doing interviews, it's particularly good. Better than this if you're out and about with the OBSBOT. But you would need something or someone to help carry the H8 or a smaller audio recorder with the XLR inputs, because it's going to be... The thing with the OBSBOT is there's no attachments. You haven't got any modules you can attach to it at the moment. I don't think. If there are, I'll leave them on screen. But it just means you've got more to carry. That's why something like the Rode Video Mic Pro is better, because you can just carry it. You can even put it in your pocket while you're walking around. Got an extra long cable there for it as well. But this is a really good microphone, again, for doing this kind of podcasting, or if you're doing YouTube videos from a desk like this. But also if you're out and about, you can hand the microphone to someone to do a kind of out and about interview, people in the street, that kind of thing. But it's a really good microphone. So next we're going to go to a Sony Lav Mic here. Now, quick caveat here. If you're using something like a Pocket 2 microphone with a Lav Mic and you've got both mics on your chest, you will get some kind of audio hissing. It's going to have a bit of a contradiction to each other, and you'll get some really bad audio. So keep them well separate if you're using a radio mic, because the interference will actually ruin the audio. So again, we're on the on the Sennheiser mic at the moment. So we're now going to switch to the Sony Lav Mic. Okay, so now you're hearing me on the Sony Lav Mic. I think the audio levels are pretty good. Make sure everything's running. Yep, so the Lav Mic is now on my chest. So I've got the walk around bit here that goes either onto your belt or maybe in your pocket. And then I've got the other, the receiver attached to the Zoom H8. I did try this directly into the OBSBOT, didn't really work. So you do need to run it through something like this if you're going to be using a radio mic like this. Okay, so scrap that. What was actually happening was the DJI Mic 2 was interfering with the signal to the Lav Mic, and I was getting a bit of a clicking noise, so it wasn't really working. So I've left that at home, and I've come out to this field with the OBSBOT, with the radio mic. And what you've got now is the the receiver going into the line mode. If I bring it up on the screen here, you can see that we've now got the linear input going with the volume working well. We've got automatic gain off and noise reduction off. So hopefully you're seeing me well. I can see that the audio is working. so it should be sounding really good. No interference, hopefully. So yeah, we've got that sorted. So that means I can now roam about free as a bird, having the OBSBOT there, and I can wander off as far as the Bluetooth signal will allow me. But what I've also noticed is that I can actually plug this in to the mic socket now. So if you watch the screen when I do that, I'm going to plug it into the mic socket. Hello, how are you? So that's in now, and you can see, oh, it did actually switch over. Let's put it in properly, and you can see that it's now switched over to the mic socket. When I plug that in, it's gone over to the mic socket. So now you can hear me on this, but you can't hear me on the Lav Mic, but you can hear me on this one. Now I can switch back again. So if I hit linear input now you've got me on the Lav Mic, but you can't hear me on this. Okay, so you can have one or the other. Now the good thing about that is it means I can switch and switcheroo while I'm actually out and about, depending on what audio I want. So if I'm standing up close, it's good to have this one. So let's put it back on the mic. So if I'm standing close to the OBSBOT, it's good to have this one because it's directional, sounds really good audio. So I'd potentially use this for being up close. But then let's say I want to wander off somewhere, I'm going to just switch it to the linear input. Hopefully that one's still working. I can drop this and then move off. But there's something even better, which I'll quickly go through. What I discovered is, if you get one of these handy things, it's just a two-way adapter. So what I'm going to do is take both of those mics out, put them into here, and then I can put the other end into either the mic or the linear mode. So let's do that now. Okay, so now we've got both microphones going into the line in, but like I said, it will work on the mic input as well. So hopefully you can hear me on the Lav Mic, and you can hear me on this microphone. So now I've got two microphones going into the same channel on the OBSBOT. But remember, it doesn't split them, so you can't separate these in post-production, but you will have two audios going into this. Now that means you can also have two radio mics, two separate radio mics going into that same connection. So if you've got two talents, you've got two people out, maybe going for a walk, having a bit of an interview as they walk and have the OBSBOT follow them, then you've got two microphones on the go, and it works perfectly. So I'm definitely getting that there. So what I can actually do is turn this one off and go for a wander. See if the OBSBOT follows me, see how far it goes. So I'll just go over here. I can see I've still got audio. It's a bit lumpy here, so if I fall over, there's laughs on me. Oh. Let's go over here. Where are you? There you are. Oh my goodness, couldn't see you in the hedges. I'm now on 12 times zoom, so I've gone right into that 12 times zoom. See if I can get a signal up here. If I'm going to lose anything, it's going to be the Bluetooth. Still got a signal. You can still see me on 12 times zoom. Linear input working, mic seems to be working. Not going to go any higher because I'm absolutely shattered, so let's come down. But I think you'll find that's going to be a pretty handy workaround, so I'll leave it at that. Let's go back to the actual review. Obviously there are options out there at the moment which you may be able to plug straight into the line in, into the OBSBOT, and you've got much smaller systems. I've had this probably 15 years now. I like it because it's reliable, it's good audio, still works, so why change it for what I need? But like I said, if you're going to buy the OBSBOT and you're looking for a radio mic, check out to see what you actually can have put into either the line in or into the microphone jack to see if you can get a really good radio mic, because again, it means less to carry about. If you've got a small module attached into the OBSBOT, which isn't really hindering it in any way, you don't need to carry lots of other bits of gubbins around like the H8, and then you can just have the transmitter on you. Again, it's fantastic. If you want to just walk out, take the OBSBOT on a tripod, plonk it down somewhere, walk away with a radio mic on, and then just start talking. It's fantastic for doing kind of vlogging. If you're a traveler having something like this, it's absolutely brilliant because it will track you. If you want to move around an area, walk around a lake, whatever, it will auto zoom, do all sorts of things. Again, we'll do that in the full review. But basically, it's a fantastic to have a radio mic with this if you're out on location just doing stuff to camera by yourself. But it's also good if you've got a system that takes 2 or 3 lav mics, so you can actually have 2 or 3 or 4 of you out and about using that audio and also having 2 or 3 of these cameras. So how does this sound? This is all been directly from the OBSBOT at the moment. Now let's switch to the Zoom H8. So this is now the audio from the H8 as opposed to the OBSBOT. Again, I'm hoping there's not too much difference. I'll have to check it during recording, during the post-production. But this is directly from the H8. Now we're going to go back to the OBSBOT recording. So this is now the audio that's come from the OBSBOT. What do you think? Any good? But I like this microphone again. One of my favorites for when I'm doing anything to camera, where I'm just going to be sitting here and I can have everything laid out. So next we're going to do the Rode NTG Mic 4. NTG Plus 4, sorry, and this is a directional mic, so we're going to switch to that next. So now you're hearing me from the, let's check the audio, from the Rode NTG4 Plus. A fantastic telescopic microphone. Again, this is highly directional, so if you are using this, it's got to be pointed straight at you. So we're recording, this is the audio from the OBSBOT that we're hearing. So if I was to move over here, you're going to pick up more ambient noise and less of me. As I come back in, it's great for this sort of thing. So what most people use this for, again, is for interviews, or maybe even sort of movie making, where this is going to be on a boom pole, just out of shot, just over, pointing straight to the talent. And it's a very good microphone, but you do have to be careful of ambient noise. You're probably hearing a bit now, but it's still a very high quality microphone. And again, it's good for this kind of setup for office work. If you're doing maybe anything to camera inside an office where you've just got this static, you're staying static, then it's a great microphone to have set up. And it could be like a B-roll camera microphone as well. So if your main audio is something like the Lav Mic, you can have this set up as a B camera, a B audio, and then just kind of merge the two, see which one's better, depending on the location you're in. So everything you're hearing now is from the OBSBOT. So how does that sound? Is it sounding good? Now we're going to switch to the H8 recording, which is this. So now you're just hearing the audio that's been recorded on the H8. So I think it's going to be fairly similar yet again, but what do you think? And now we're going to switch back to the OBSBOT. So now you're hearing the audio that's gone through the H8 into the OBSBOT. Is there any difference? Is it good audio? Is it sounding good? I'm not going to tweak it too much. Any of these audio tests, I'm not going to tweak it too much in post-production because I want you to hear it pretty much straight out of camera and straight out of the H8. So again, this is one of my favorite microphones, very, very good mic, but again, super telescopic and it's very directional. So just be careful when you're using it. Okay, so next, the last one I'm actually going to do now is just the 2 channels on the actual Zoom H8. So again, this is a fantastic mic and I like these front mics with the Zooms for ambient noise. So everything you've seen here is pretty much for talent. If someone's talking and you're recording yourself, either it's actors or acting or stage productions or music or speeches, things like that, all of these mics kind of work for all of those sort of things. But really when it comes to Foley, for sort of audio where you're just doing ambient noise, so say you're out walking in the woods or you've come to a stream or a waterfall and you want to really pick up that audio, then that's where this mic comes in. So we're going to listen to that next. So before we do that last test, a quick word from our sponsor this week, which is me. I've created the Creators Cafe, which is a place where you can actually go and hang out with other nerdy, geeky types and talk about tech gear all day long, whether that's photography, video, drone work, maybe even building WordPress websites. It's a place, a bit like a social media website, where you can go and just hang out with people and chew the fat over certain things and discuss certain topics. Now, it's not just a kind of creators cafe. It's actually got about 7 courses that I've written on there to do with photography, video, filming weddings, all sorts of things on there. There's a few where it shows you how to make money with your cameras. And on top of all of that, we've also got a business directory and a jobs board so that you can actually get really interactive if you're running a business. There's also a way that you can actually earn money with us, and you can also have private tuition from myself to do with photography, video or drone work and things like that. So head over there now, go to atpmembers.com, check it out. Hopefully I'll see you on the inside. So the last audio, you're now hearing me from the Zoom using these 2 kind of omnidirectional mics on the front. Now you may be hearing a bit more kind of ambient noise, so if I shut my mouth for a second, it may be picking up a bit more that's going on in the room. So if I was to pick something up, move it about, you're going to hear a lot more of that ambient noise. So over this side if it's in stereo, over this side again. So this is great for Foley, which is when you're going to be kind of recording B-roll or B audio, just where you want to drop into any of your projects. So again, whenever you're out and about, if you've got a smaller version of this, like the H4 I think it is, just some sort of audio recorder with 2 of these omnidirectional mics, you can pick up the most beautiful audio wherever you go. Like I said, whether it's a river running, maybe it's a crowd at a football match, it could be nature sounds, it could be horses neighing, it could be cows mooing, anything like that. If you've got one of these in your pocket, then you can build up your library of audio, and using this, it just picks up the most beautiful audio. Not necessarily good for something like this because of the ambient noise bouncing around the room, but this is really good for that kind of Foley audio, like I said. So at the moment you're hearing it purely from the OBSBOT, so hopefully it's good and hopefully you picked up some stereo sounds. Now we're going to switch to the H8. So it's now on the H8. How does that sound? Does it sound any more different, any better, anything like that? So we're on the H8 now. Switch back to the OBSBOT. This is now coming directly from the OBSBOT on board, which is what I'm filming here. So if you haven't seen that, that's what I'm filming with today. Let's put it on the other camera there. So I've been using the OBSBOT there, and again, this camera is incredible. So I hope you liked all this audio. tests, and it might give you some idea of what kind of microphones you can use with this. If you are thinking of buying one, or if you've got one already, you're going to need some audio. You're definitely going to need a microphone to sync up with other cameras. But I hope this has helped regarding what kind of microphones you can use with it. I'm only using these because these are the ones I've got, but I hope it's helped in a way to kind of help you buy or use whatever microphones you've got. Now, I'm not going to go into it here, but the OBSBOT has got so much going for it. It's such an amazing camera. So like I said, if you want to see the full review, which will be coming out in a few days' time, then please like, subscribe, hit the bell button so you get notified when that review comes out. And again, please share this video if you found it helpful. If you know somebody using the Tail 2 or who's going to buy the Tail 2, then please give this to them, send it to them, and hopefully it'll help them too. Okay, so thanks for watching. I hope this has helped, and we'll see you on the next video.